I'm gonna say 30 years.
Welcome to the IMU Board of Trustees, June 9th, 2025 board meeting. Roll call?
Celebrate.
Yes.
White?
Yeah.
Smith?
Yes.
Rosga?
Yes.
Voice.
Yes.
Thank you.
So we have public comment. Anyone wishing to speak should come to the lectern and state your name and address for the record. All right. Need a first and second motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Approval of claims. Approval of minutes, prior meeting. April 2025 financial report. Doug?
Yeah, I can, what would I call them, just observations. This is 10 months, which is 83%-ish of the budget year. And for example, in the water operations, you don't need to follow this, I'm just kind of rattling, but as far as budget goes, our revenues are 74%, and so we got 2 months, but those water gallons just move all over, so it'll be interesting to see where that ends up. And then the expenses, though, are really pretty much in line, like 77%. And I know that this includes depreciation, but through 10 months, we got like a $920,000 loss, but it's going to be, it's a little bit different because depreciation is in there, a non-cash item, but somehow or another you've accumulated some $14 million in surplus, so you don't do that with generating losses. And then, so that's sort of the water. Then on electricity, the revenues are, right on at 85%. Positive is the expenses are 76%. So, but again, modified cash, what's the payables or whatever. And again, there's a loss there of about $313,000. And then fiber, great job of budgeting, 83% or whatever it is revenues. So they got that under control. And just a loss which we expect, $341,000, which as time goes on we'll pick up. Yeah, we've always known that, but just observations. It's they're big numbers, and I know we've got experienced staff and everything, so they'll make it happen. Anyway, just a few comments.
Thank you, Doug.
Yeah.
Chris or Chris, do you have any projections for where we'll end up the year with the last 2 months in on each of the 3 utilities? Just roughly.
Yeah, I think we're going to be pretty close to what we budgeted. Again, like we always say, we budget on a cash basis, but our financial reporting is kind of a modified cash basis with the depreciation and all that in there. So
Yep.
Just like in the last several years, we won't have those final numbers, of course, so we get through the audit and we do our audit adjustments and all of those for the audited financial statement on the accrual basis. But I don't expect anything to be unusually out of whack one way or the other, revenues or expenses.
You still think revenue is going to catch up?
I think so. I'm curious to see, and we've got actually, so these numbers are based on the billings. So when Alicia does the billings, we get the entry on June 1st what was billed. We have that data right now. I haven't looked to see like what the June billings ended up being, but I know we've had several people come in to get the sewer reduction meters. They've been filling pools, they've been irrigating, they've been watering, so we usually see that shift in the last couple of months of the fiscal year. And then, of course, when we do the audit adjustments that last month, because the July 1st billing will have part of June, like 15 days in June, 15 days in July, so to get the true, revenue through June 30th, it's going to be probably almost August before we get all that.
So if I'm thinking about it correctly, then even though we're through 10 months, there's really only 9.5 months of revenue in there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All right, roll call?
Celebrate.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Rosga,
Yes.
Voight.
Yes.
Thank you.
Electric utility action items. Need a first and second motion to approve the resolution approving certificate of completion for the 69 kV relay project. Motions?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yep, this is just the completion of that 69 relay project and starts the 30-day clock for anybody that needs to come forward that wasn't paid. But we're the only ones that did it, and they were the only ones here, no subcontractors on that project.
Great. Roll call?
Celebrate.
Yes.
White, Smith,
Yes.
Rosga,
Yes.
Voight.
Yes.
Thank you.
Electric utility informational items.
Yep, I probably should have mentioned this at the last meeting, but we did send a couple of apprentices up to IMU for schooling overhead underground. That went really well for them. We try to send guys a couple times a year. We did start a crew down on the solar project towards the end of last week. Got a few poles set up that we gotta put new ones up. We don't want to run brand new wire pull and switches and go to all that work and have that fail. They're close enough that we need to upgrade those. But we did start some trenching down there today, get out of the way of the fences and silt fence that's going to go in so we can be done out of there. Square project, we did move to the northeast corner today. Started working over there, and kind of the big deal will be next Monday. We'll convert the Justice Center over from 4 kV up to 13.2 on Monday. That'll be a good one to get moved overload.
We do that off business hours.
We'll do it at 7:30 in the morning. We will have the east side of the square, which we're notifying all those business owners, which most of them are closed on Mondays anyway because they're open over the weekend. But we'll do that at 7:30 in the morning. Justice Center will flip right over to their generator, so they should operate just as normal.
And they're aware of it.
Yep, we talked to the maintenance.
Thank you.
Got crews still working on our IUC overhead maintenance. Some of that was over by Wilder, Whittier. We had to wait. Gas company was over there, had that if you were over there, the intersection was tore up for a while. We wanted to get them out of there so we didn't make it any worse. Working on our inventory counts for the end of the year. That's all going well. And then just locates. I know Kurt has more than we have because he goes further than we do, but about 300 locates less last month, which for us averages out to about 15 locates per day we got to get done. That's about all I got.
Great. Need a first and second motion to approve the resolution approving certificate of completion for the Southeast Streetscape Water Main Project. Motions?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, it's just finalizing the project and putting it behind us.
Roll call?
Celebrate.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Rosga,
Yes.
Voight.
Yes.
Thank you.
Water utility information items.
Yeah, just staying busy, seasonal work, continue to work with contractors on the projects, new projects being started. We have a concrete pour back that we will hopefully be working on this week if things allow, and then knock on wood, we will have hydrant flushing done the end of this week or first of next, but all depending on what comes up throughout the week.
How's the project that's between Buxton and Howard on Clinton?
The water main and everything's all in. We actually got to meet the contractor up there tomorrow at 8 o'clock to start filling it and do the pressure testing. But yeah, water main's in. We did do a shutdown. Must have been last Monday. But everything went well and it's all on the ground.
Good.
All right. Communications utility information items.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add from what I had last week. We're still working on those development areas, getting new houses hooked up there, which is all good. I can chime in with locate numbers. I did happen to look today, and we just went over 1,200 today, so we've done 1,200 locates for the year, so, which is around about 75, 80 ahead of what we were last year, so those numbers just, continue to go up, so, but, and then other than that, June, July, always our vacation season for us, so we'll have people out here for the next couple months, but juggling schedules around, but we'll keep moving forward, so.
And your TV switch went well.
Yeah, TV seems to be fun. Whenever you reboot all the set-top boxes, it creates a little bit of chaos. But, 2-3 days, we got everything straightened back out. It was a quiet weekend, and hopefully it'll stay quiet this week, so, yeah. So.
All right. Combined electric, water, and communications action items. We have 2 resolutions setting salaries for our IMU employees and appointed officers. Need a first and second motion to approve a resolution setting salaries for appointed officers and non-union employees of the Indianola Municipal Utilities effective July 13th, 2025. Motion?
So, second.
Roll call.
Discussion.
Oh, discussion. Let's do that first.
I didn't see Chris on there.
Mine's contract.
Okay, all right, all right,
I thought the same thing, Mike.
all right.
All right. Roll call.
Celebrate.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Roscoe,
Yes.
Voight.
Yes.
Thank you.
Need a first and second motion to approve a resolution setting salaries for union employees of the Indianola Municipal Utilities effective July 13th, 2025. Motions?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? All right, roll call?
Celebrate.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Roscoe,
Yes.
Voight.
Yes.
Thank you.
Do we not have to do the fringe benefits, or is that already included?
It's included with those or something.
Okay. Okay. It was just listed separately, so I wasn't sure.
Combined water, electric, and communications informational items.
All right, I attended NMPP Energy's Joint Operating Committee meeting last week. We reviewed some of the preliminary audit information for NMPP Energy, which means parent organization, and some of those other affiliated organizations. Meetings, audits underway, and we typically get that about a month later. So.
I think in May you're in.
March 1st, we got March 31st year, and April 1st is the beginning. Solar install is underway. We've met with a lot of those contractors and folks and getting everything rolled out. So exciting news there. It's for real now. There's a couple job trailers, stuff's getting moved in, and we do have their construction schedule. Working through timing for informational posts, just both a combination of stuff that might be interesting to the public and specifically when we know for sure when they'll be driving the pilings. I think if there's an opportunity to be annoying, it'll be during that time period when they're driving pilings.
Just because of the noise? Or?
Yeah, it is a giant kind of hammering, and there's a bit of a ring to the percussion as they're pounding that in. So they do have time periods to operate items like that, but
So you're thinking we'll send a communication similar to the turbine testing?
yeah. Once we know when they're going to happen and the exact timing, we'll kind of just make that notice and let people know that it will end eventually, and
Dogs at the dog park should love that.
I saw a Facebook post on just getting construction started, and I thought that was good.
yeah.
Yes.
Keep up that communication,
Yeah.
that's good.
And I saw that too, and I had a question about it. And we've been out of town, and I've not been checking that kind of stuff. But I saw there was someone who had made what I saw a little bit of as a negative comment. And do we respond to that stuff, or have we responded to that?
It depends on the negative comment.
So this particular one had to do with hail. And I don't know exactly what it said, but it basically said, one good hailstorm and this whole system is toast. And it's not true, and even if it were true, we're not on the hook financially. And so my question is, I think it's wise for us to respond to something like that, to let the community know that this is a purchase power agreement, we're buying power off of this grid. If it blows up tomorrow, we're not really out anything.
Respond with facts only.
Yeah, do you respond individually to those things, or do we continue to build our education and put it in that? I think you can get into a vicious cycle on Facebook with message responding, so that's my only caveat.
And I don't disagree with that. Adam, what's your opinion on that? I don't disagree with that.
I think I know Adam's opinion on that,
But I do think if there is some, and I've not looked back, and there may be other comments out there also, and I should, when I get home tonight, I'll take a peek at it quick, but I think if somebody says something other that's not correct, I think we should respond to that and let people know that, hey, this isn't true, because I know some of that stuff we had, from a board perspective, we had questions too, as far as, hailstorms and dust and all this kind of stuff. And I don't remember exactly what we were told, but we were pretty well assured that the technology we have today is much better than what we had just a few years ago. And
with specifically on that one, I don't quite know how to respond. I suppose it's technically possible. I don't want to be the one that says, oh, these things are indestructible, and then have that happen. So to his specific point of, can hail destroy these? I suppose if they're football size hail, everything, houses and everything will be destroyed. An individual kind of posted that something in that spirit, and I think did a good job of capturing it and their opinions on it. And that it was, even if it was possible.
There was a response from the community.
You're correct.
Okay. And was that response accurate?
I mean, there was some opinion in it, ultimately, that they're a lot tougher than they used to be.
And maybe the bigger thing is, I think it's wise for us, I mean, social media is something that we use as a tool, and it can be positive and it can be negative. But I guess I do feel that if somebody is throwing something out there that it just is not accurate, I think it's wise for us to settle that down and not in a way to poke or antagonize or do anything. But if there's bad information out there, why would we want to let that keep going? Because if someone says something that's not correct, they're telling their friends, they're telling their coworkers, and so forth, and that's how I guess I see it as something wise for us to do. And I understand sometimes you can step in it, but
As long as it doesn't become a full-time job, but I do think stating the facts, that we can't go wrong doing that.
Yeah, my preference probably be to add something else to, a new positive post to repoint some of the stuff that we've talked about out. Not necessarily single out an individual, but to say, hey, even if the worst can happen, the great news is we're not financially responsible. We've got bonds. We've got,
Maybe
any number of.
You develop some sort of FAQ kind of sheet, and because that will probably come up again. People will ask, and we have kind of commonly asked questions, and you've got kind of a standard answer to them.
Well, I've also seen people where they've asked questions, people have responded, and then someone else later on another post asked another question. People will refer back to the other questions or other answers on those and, community pages, and you'd be like, this has been answered or something like that. So sometimes even, like you said, an FAQ at some point, just here's some questions that are commonly asked, and I'm sure that the solar companies got an FAQ that they probably even have themselves that you could take and just be like, here it is, just as an FYI, something to look into. But I agree, digging too deep into it, starting to just sometimes people are going to troll you just to troll you. So.
Curious mind.
Well, and I didn't mean to imply that this individual did that just to.
Oh, no,
I mean,
absolutely
I'm
not.
sure he expressed something that he thought was accurate. But
We live in Iowa.
I wonder if that's something going forward, that maybe there should be some kind of a,
Mhm.
some kind of a policy on that says, hey, this is when and this is how we're gonna respond, and
Yeah.
just something to think about.
All good information. And lastly, this week, Bob's in the back, but Bob and the new city manager are going to tour our facilities on Wednesday morning. And so if anybody is bored and wants to tag along, we'll kick stuff off here at 8:30. If not, I'll take them through and kind of show them all the bragging points and give them the high level information that'll start the curiosity, I'm sure.
Will there be donuts?
If that makes or breaks some attendance, donuts can happen.
Well, welcome, Bob, to the city council. Thank you. And on anything else? On that note, Mike, this is your last meeting, correct?
Mike, that's all that is.
Yeah. So, well, I think we all want to thank you very much for your service over the years. The ups, the downs, the funds, the lows, all that fun stuff. So, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll see you on social media, right?
Probably not.
I would just echo Dom's comments. You've done a really nice job helping us stay
No, it's
involved. Thank you.
been my pleasure to be part of it. It really has. You know, you learn a lot, and you see a lot, and it very much gives you a different perspective on things. And so I think we've got a great organization here, and a great team, and I have high expectations, and now I can say stuff and not have to worry about it so much.
Hey, Chris, before we close, can you comment on the Warren County message you sent?
Yeah. So,
Or someone sent, I'm not sure who.
it was Steph Erickson,
So you
actually,
forwarded Steph's
from
message?
the
billing.
Warren County, about the meeting you had with them and adjusting. I think I forwarded it to you.
Yep. That just as a course of business, the particular situation there, the county or any community member that meets specific criteria can request to be billed in a different manner, and that is the demand rate. It's a little bit closer to how we actually get charged, so it kind of aligns commercial interests. The county has been getting close. They've, it is something we monitor. It's typically beneficial, and it's something we monitor. In November, mid-November, I did mention, like, this is something you guys can probably benefit. They went through some maintenance folks and the people that I talked to and almost had it across the finish line. They left and found some contact information through somebody else. I did attend a supervisor's meeting to kind of study their version of the study session, to give them a little more information and let them know, there's certainly risks with being billed on demand if, they don't, but it was a tool that if they manage their power usage from particular peak demand methodology, that they could benefit a lot from.
So did they just meet a threshold that they hadn't met before? How come they became eligible now?
It takes 12 months to get a new business on here once we look at their demand, and maybe Mike can get a little more specific about this, but we have people that we know from the size and installation might get close, and we do monitor their demands. It's not something that actually gets passed to billing on a regular basis, but Nate Edwards, our metering tech out there, he'll go and look at everyone, both from the perspective of the people that we bill in this manner and to those that are getting close. So it does take 12 months of cycle to do this. initial early on, they were probably working through some hiccups where there was lots of spikes that, were concerning that, they 120 kilowatts is what meets the demand threshold if they bill on a periodic basis on 120 kilowatts. For a year, they can meet the threshold. But there was a couple of months there that every 2 or 3 months, they'd spike up to like 500, which wouldn't necessarily be a favorable billing situation if they would have been, because we do bill at 70% of the maximum demand. So if they typically only use 100, but then 1 month do 50, they'd be getting charged 70% of the 500, which
But the
wouldn't have
county's
been.
not a new customer. I guess that's what, I didn't understand what meant the change. I get that you had to look at 12 months of data, but what brought it to your attention?
Just that, well, their old facility didn't have near the demand, so there was no jail in there.
Okay,
There's
that
no
makes sense. New
anything.
facilities.
Yeah, this was the new facility, and like I said, with the spikes in there, it probably wouldn't have been a good thing. So I don't necessarily, when it's not favorable, suggest people look at it. But it just became a pattern where they did have, about 18 months of, they appear to have got the spikes figured out. They're
More
not there
efficient
anymore.
with their
They're getting stuff figured out to where it would be a benefit, and so.
Thank you. I just
based on
didn't
that,
know why now.
Timing.
Yeah, timing of their usage, timing of them figuring things out, and, now that I see a benefit, I brought it to their attention.
That's awesome.
And,
Yeah.
and it did save them quite a bit of money.
It saved us. Give all of us taxpayers money.
Yep, yeah, exactly. And so, glad we could do it. It is something we offer for everyone else, and most of the time, we spend a lot of time looking at the stuff and it doesn't pan out. This was, this was the one out of, maybe 10 that does end up successful and that we can move across the finish line.
Well, I appreciate it. I think it's great to get a message in community outreach, especially from our previous mayor or from our partners over there. So thank you very much, and keep up that good work on that. We really like to see those things come through.
Absolutely.
So, any other business?
Just as a reminder, this will be the first month that we intend to do one meeting a month. The exception there, if something does come up, we might, try to address it on an emergency basis. But the expectation is, for the next couple of months, we'll just do our first meeting of the month.
And
skip
our
the
city
second one.
partners know that? Were you guys aware of that? Okay.
And then our
It's a
study
break.
session. Reminder. Study session.
Strategic.
Oh, the strategic planning, yep, that was moved from the 16th to the 23rd. It'll be up at the IAMU.
July, correct?
Yep,
Yep.
sorry, July
Somebody
23rd.
can make it.
That'll be up at the
And
IMU
add a, so
boardroom.
that works better for him.
Yeah.
And again, if you guys have any questions, comments, or topics of discussion you want to bring up, feel free to pass those along. And I think consistent with Adams, we'll try to shorten up the presentation a little bit and go into discussion mode a little longer. But to that end, we're there for as long as you guys need us, and as long as you guys can all attend, that a quorum can be there to attend. So, it'll probably be a little bit later this year than last year.
And do we have a new board member named?
Not that I know of.
Bob, do you know, has the mayor said anything to council? No?
Well, not that I know of, not public meeting.
Okay.
He may have talked to somebody privately about it, I don't know that.
All right. I need a first and second motion to adjourn.
So move.
Voice vote.
Aye.
Chris, where are we going?
Oh, I got my Acme shirt on, so it makes it a little tough.